Look out, he's right behind you!
Nah.
Oh, hey, how's it going? This is episode 27 of the ToonamiGAF
What the
podcast.
hell is that?
I'm surprising everyone into wakefulness.
Oh,
You're all filled with adrenaline now, aren't you?
Yes.
What? I
Yes.
wasn't paying attention.
huh. I was only
We've
half paying
started.
attention.
We've started SETA.
It's your first
did?
day back and you're already not paying attention.
Oh, we started?
Yes.
It does say live in the top corner of the screen.
Oh, sorry. I'm just kind of eating while I'm doing this.
Yep. This is. We waited for you, and this is
I do
what
the
we
same
get.
thing. I
Uh,
do the same thing.
also, B-Dubs
Hello.
and Zonic.
Hello.
Hopefully, Zonic has promised us that his internet in his new place is great. So,
Yep. So hopefully there won't be drop out.
Oh, here we go again.
oh no. Zonic, static loudly if you can hear us. Excellent.
All right. Everything sounds perfect. Let's get going.
Okay.
We've been
Yes.
going.
This is how everyone sounds like they should. So, quick bit
Well,
of news.
as long as I sound okay.
You sound okay.
Yeah, everyone else can just go, whatever.
No, everyone else sounds horrible.
Yep. So, quick bit of news. One Punch Man is indeed the rerun slot show now.
No way.
I mean, I am shocked by this. Completely and utterly shocked. In other news, Soul Flares is watching Haruhi, and he's going to watch all of Endless 8.
You better do it all in a row and live stream it. I want to see his reaction.
So do I. If only because I've never seen someone actually go into it, watch all of Endless 8 knowing what's there.
Well, I mean, there's a difference between like actually sitting down and watching it and maybe just like playing it while he, dicks around on NeoGAF or whatever,
Yeah,
Like how much attention is he actually going to be paying to it?
this is true.
I assume after a while he just kind of started to tune it out. It's like, oh yeah, it's this part again and whatever.
Well, I mean, it's the same friggin' episode, 8 different times, with the only major difference being the animation and the ending of the 8th episode. I remember that when that was going on, after I think it was the 4th one, everyone went, oh, son of a bitch, they're really doing it 8 times?
So, I guess now that Funimation is only doing, like, Funimation and Crunchyroll did their, fusion dance, and they're this ridiculous mega conglomerate.
Yeah.
And now I kind of don't need my Funimation account anymore.
Well, I mean, you still need it for, like, dubs and stuff.
I mean, I'm not going to actively go out and watch most shows twice.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have the time.
I mean, honestly, for, like, most things, I think I still might go with Funimation, if only because it's easier to watch a dub in the background while I'm doing something else.
Yeah, that's the thing with subbed anime. You have to, like, give it your undivided attention.
Yeah, you have to read the, friggin' subtitles.
So, I don't know. I'll see. But it's $8 I could have elsewhere.
Yeah, you can spend it on beer.
I don't drink beer.
Oh, well, I mean, it'd only be good for like 1 beer a month, so, I never said it was a lot of beer.
Anyway, so now that One Punch Man's in the rerun slot, this is kind of like the best lineup Toonami's ever had.
We're finally free of, well, it had been free, but free of Sentai for now.
For now, yeah. I imagine we'll be getting some form of SAO at some point.
That's not Sentai. But not like it's much better, but
Yeah, no, I completely forgot. I mean, Sentai still got Ushio and Tora, so they do have some decent shows there to pick from.
I've been gone for like 10 weeks of this podcast, and I feel like we talk about this every time. But
No, I haven't brought this up since you left.
no, I mean, like, there aren't many places for a show to actually jump on right now. Like, I
Yeah.
guess Gundam ends in like 6-7 weeks or something like that.
So
Yeah.
let me quickly bring up the correct
Yeah.
show
Timetable.
ending date list.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so-
mean, I'm not sure Gundam gets renewed for the next season, if only because it's kind of been a really iffy show.
Gundam.
Unless there was some larger deal made where they already agreed to air the second season or something.
Well, they straight
Um,
up said that it was like dependent on ratings.
Yeah.
Although maybe
yeah.
that might have been a now they'll
Watch
still get
this.
it, but they'll get it later.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they push it down a couple of slots from where it is
Or they
now.
they won't be willing to spend so much for it if they know it's not gonna be not gonna rate as well as
Yeah.
JoJo or One Punch Man or whatever.
I mean, it seems like it's the sort of show that, like in terms of ratings, it'll do well when everything around it does really well, and when it's not complete hot garbage, like, Dort has been. By the way, my name is Dort D. Dort.
Every time I
And
hear the word Dort, I just kind of think of Swedish Chef saying it over and over again.
Dorton. It's no, I mean, it's Space Costco, let's be real.
So, taking into account only the Halloween marathon, Gundam ends on December 10th. I mean, we can obviously extrapolate that there'll be a Thanksgiving one, and that will push
So
it to the
basically-
17th, which is probably going to be a marathon.
Yeah, so
I don't know if the 17th will be, because the next 2 weeks are Christmas Eve
Yeah.
and New Year's Eve. So I don't know if they'll do 3 weeks of marathons
yeah.
in a row. I know
They
last year
might.
they did 2. I don't know. Whatever.
It
It's kind of
depends
like
on-
the 17th is obviously like near the holidays, but whatever.
It depends on whether or not they think enough people are traveling that it'll be a problem. And
But anyways, I guess at this point I would imagine that like Samurai Jack has to be somewhat soon, right? If it was targeting a late 2016 release initially, then
I think it's
early 2017 is not a stretch unless
think
there's like
I-
something really
I think they
wrong
might.
happened.
I think they might have another extra marathon this year, if only to push Jack to the new year.
Yeah, that's my guess at this point is that Samurai Jack will be Gundam's replacement.
Yeah.
But maybe they'll wait on it and make it, if they think it's going to rate well, make it JoJo's replacement after that. That'd be like spring summer 2017.
Yeah.
Or they could just put it at 11:30 and premiere it whenever.
True.
Yeah, we also mentioned that's a possibility. So I mean, it's a big enough thing where they can justify it.
Yeah, Samurai Jack is probably like the only thing they could do or that and like Dragon Ball Super to like
Yeah.
expand it
Yeah.
earlier than midnight.
So, regarding Super, I'm kind of wondering whether we're going to get Bukai or Super.
Or yeah, like so. I guess that's another bit of news. Like the Toei Animation Europe website basically said they had made an agreement with Turner Europe to broadcast it in basically the various children's blocks of the European countries. And that includes like Toonami France, which I actually went to the Toonami France website. Is like it's mostly like superhero like DC Marvel shows. it's like a young boys block.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different.
Well, like
but,
I'm a little shocked we're not getting more like DC stuff for Toonami, if only because it seems like it'd be a good fit.
Well, probably
I
two.
think-
It's
I
probably
think
a
that's
two-pronged problem.
Yeah.
One is that DC maybe doesn't want their stuff on Adult Swim,
Yeah.
and then two is probably it's expensive as fuck.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, I imagine it just seems like you can do a really good Batman show for something like Toonami.
I think
worry about it.
I think that stuff fits more on like the European like kids channels because like kids will buy like the licensed merchandise and the toys and things like that, where
We're not going to buy licensed stuff.
I mean, anime fans will buy whatever, but that's not really a factor of TV like it is for kids. But
No, yeah. I mean, I still do, like going back, I still do think we're getting Bukai before Super. If only because there's only so much, super available right now, and
I feel like if Toonami was not going to air Bukai, it would have been released by now. Like,
exactly.
what else are they waiting for?
Yeah,
Like, that's the only thing they could be waiting for.
Like they
But
dubbed it and then realized, actually nobody cares. So
yeah,
I do think it is possible they might do both. Like, once they finally get the super rights and
license.
agreements figured out, they'll just air them both kind of at the same time.
wouldn't they want
And-
to stretch it out as much as they possibly can, though?
Yeah.
Like
I
then
don't
you're
know.
just kind of wasting weeks of Dragon Ball Z.
How long is Bukai? Like almost 2 years, a year and a half. It's like more than 50
Bukai would go from currently would go from like December this year to February of 2018. Over a year.
Yeah, so it'd be a whole other year basically. But it's also very possible that Super will just end up on another channel.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, who the hell is going to buy it though?
Disney XD.
No, I think no.
Disney has a lot of money.
I think Shippuden actually scared them off of anime, because we haven't really seen them buy anything in terms of anime since they got Shippuden and they had to censor it to hell and back.
Well, what channel is Yokai Watch on? Isn't that Disney?
Disney, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's.
I will say that DBZ is probably a little bit more kid friendly than Naruto. There's not as much blood. There's no blades or bullets and things like that. I mean, it's people beating each other up, but it's
DBZ is an easier edit.
It's a little bit more like a superhero show than an anime.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've seen screens from the most recent arc, and there's dudes getting stabbed, and I mean, when I say dudes getting stabbed, I mean it's just the one guy getting stabbed over and over again.
Okay.
They've edited that stuff out, many times.
Well, I mean, good luck with it, considering how often it happens in the episode I saw.
Truthfully speaking, I don't think it'll end up on Disney, but it could end up. Who knows?
I mean, maybe Nickelodeon will buy it. They showed, Kai and GT and all that stuff.
It'll be Netflix exclusive.
That'd be a pretty big get for them. But I imagine if it was them, they'd have gotten it already.
Currently locked in a high-stakes poker game with Jason DeMarco. It's been going on for months.
That explains why we haven't seen DeMarco lately.
I mean, we've seen him.
But have we seen him? We have. We have actually seen him. Well, not us specifically, but, he's around.
Anyway, JoJo's coming next week.
Hell yeah.
I think JoJo is such a great addition. It fits perfectly.
Yeah, I still can't believe they got Roundabout.
Well, are they going to play the whole thing, or when they say they got it, are they just going to play a snip?
It looks like they actually got it. They were playing it in the ads.
Well, here's the thing. Was getting Roundabout at all a question? Was it a question if they either play it at all or nothing? And now they got the rights to play it, even if it's going to be cut. I don't know.
I think it was all or nothing, if only because I can't imagine it being any more expensive to get the lyrics.
I wonder if I don't know if they'll do this, but I wonder if they will do a Toonami opening for the show, just a quickie opening. That way they can air the whole credits each time. I don't know.
I hope they do.
Cutting out Sonochino Sadame is a crime.
Yeah, I mean the opening is pretty good too.
It is, but cutting up.
I mean they're going to cut one or the other or both.
Yeah, but cutting up Roundabout is probably an even bigger crime.
I mean, really, the most important part of the Roundabout ending is the very beginning.
I would imagine what they'll do is how Gundam would always have the lead-in to the end credits. They're just gonna do something like that.
I mean, yeah, they'll still allow those ending lead into the credits, but will they cut it? After that, probably yes.
The answer is yes. I am 100% sure we will not see the full ending.
Maybe the first time.
Maybe.
Did they do that for Gundam?
No.
Oh.
Well, I mean, Gundam doesn't have like $1 million song as its ending, you know? So it's this weird situation where the rules we're used to might not be applying. Because if you're going to spend all that money, you're going to want to get your money's worth.
I just can't wait for, seeing the opening being cut and then Dragon Soul continues to run in full, and then Jamarco's just in a corner playing the Gucci Mane video over and over again. The fucker.
We still won't get the Vic Minaj version, the only good version of that song.
So, on the DVD releases of Dragon Ball Z Kai, right now it's supposed to be the last Dragon Ball Z opening, which has it's like a cut of various Funimation voice actors, and one of them is Vic. So he has 33% of the opening, and they didn't play it. So we're not even get a person that's partially good.
Like they're literally just scrubbing Vic Mignogna out of the opening.
Like, what did he do to deserve this?
Did he not? Is it like a case where he has a unique contract or something?
I have no idea.
It could be.
Did he suddenly unionize or not, or ununionize or something?
I don't know. I mean, it'd definitely be something to ask at a Q&A, but instead people are going to ask why they canceled Bleach. I mean, it's a legitimately interesting question. Did his contract change and that, altered whether or not you can use it? Or
He also
get more
updated
if
the
he sings?
bumps, and I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
I honestly thought we wouldn't get another bump change until the new year.
Well, I figured we'd get one with JoJo. It just happened to be a week early.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just because previously they've only been updating them every second lineup change.
Well, I mean, this lineup isn't going to be changing for a good long while, though, so,
Well, laziness knows no boundaries.
I imagine we won't be seeing a lineup change for a while after this.
I mean, we're basically with this lineup for the rest of the year.
And then a little bit beyond that.
Yep. I mean, just Gundam, whatever replaces that, which is going to be right around the new year.
Yeah.
So, do you think they're going to do a promo for part 2?
I think they have to.
They might, just to I guess
let everyone know it's changing.
Well, I guess the show itself does a pretty decent job. It's not like they part 2 follows part 1. It's obviously like a time skip, but it's it's not like it's totally bizarre to watch without any sort of context. I think it gives enough context within the show, so it'd be nice if they did a little preview for it. I don't think it's necessary, or not even it's not like it's useful. I think it would just be neat.
I think it is necessary because it's essentially just an entirely different show.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, it follows directly after, but it's got a new main character, mostly new characters, an entirely different plot.
Yeah.
Not to mention, the promo they showed only was from part 1.
Yeah, they didn't show any scenes from part 2. It was all, Jonathan versus Dio.
In fact, they only showed scenes from episodes 1 through 8, and so I kind of imagine that maybe those are the episodes we're getting this year.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I think we were going to start part 2 right as the new year was beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now because of the Halloween marathon, there's no chance of that. It's going to be one episode of part 1 and then part 2.
Yeah. Well, I mean, whatever.
It'll be right around the new year. It may not be the exact first weekend or whatever, but
it'll be close enough where you'll be able to draw a line.
Although if they grab Samurai Jack around, then they would probably have better things to do than cut a promo for part 2.
Oh, definitely, because then they're going to have a billion Jack promos to cut. Because, I mean, their Jack returning is a huge thing.
Wonder if we're going to get next episode previews for JoJo.
I don't think they're going to spend the money.
I think One Punch Man was a kind of a good combination of, it was rating well enough, and it was only 12 episodes.
Yeah.
Where JoJo is double that, so it's it's automatically going to be double the investment, and it may not rate well as well. So
yeah, because they didn't start doing the next episode promos until episode 3, because it was oh shit.
this is actually doing really well, and it's also that like One Punch Man itself lends itself really well to those sort of next episode promos.
I mean,
Like,
there's some great ones you could do in JoJo,
oh,
like the frog punch and
there are
the
a
I
bunch of
can lift this rock.
and anything involving Speedwagon.
Like just to cut a next episode promo of him just introducing himself and saying his name.
Exactly. No, but like One Punch Man, there's always going to be like it's the sort of thing. Every episode is something even more incredibly hyped than the last time happening. So it makes sense, to tell everyone, oh hey, there's no slowing down with this. It's all like craziness all the time, and here's this week's craziness.
I did find it funny that they said on the season finale of One Punch Man.
Oh, they're definitely getting season 2. You can't pull the kind of numbers they got and not, get season 2 when they do it.
Please get a simuldub.
Oh my God, yes.
I mean, I could see them springing for it, considering how well it did. It was just fantastic. The numbers were good. It got a bunch of good buzz. The guy next to me in work who doesn't even, watch Toonami tuned in. He was telling me so we could watch One Punch Man. And now we're quiet.
Yeah. It's like, well, this has been episode 27.
Yeah, no, moving on now.
All right, see you next week.
Okay, yeah. Bye.
Later, guys.
Later. I'm ending the hangout. No, in all seriousness. It's time. Let's move on to the block and Dragon Ball Z Kai. Dragon Ball Z Kai.
This is probably.
So I forgot to tell you this, but how this goes is that for C. Kohler's editing, I say the name of the show, pause, and then go into the episode title.
Oh. I forgot that you did the episode title, but I wasn't. The pause felt really weird to me. Like, I guess I'll jump in.
That's kind of like the insert opening music here.
I did the same thing my first time too.
Have you noticed? I haven't listened to any of the podcasts since I left.
No,
really?
I haven't noticed at all.
Really? That's unfortunate. I haven't listened to last week's because I've been so busy.
And now you made him sad.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Dragon Ball Z Kai, episode 89. Battle at the highest level. Goku goes all out. They punch each other for a while, then Cell throws a blast and blows things up, and that's the episode. Moving on.
Yeah, that's about it. Well, I mean, what's there to talk about?
Nothing.
Moving on.
It's probably the best animated episode of this arc, and probably the best action of this arc.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, that's.
I mean, it's still DBZ because that's what it is. It's just. It's probably as good as DBZ gets, to be quite honest.
Yeah, I mean, there's more stuff coming later on that we can talk about, but
The animation was good. The action was, cool. Good for, relative to what the show normally has. So.
Yeah. I mean, stuff happened.
The show is increasingly, demonstrating that its biggest flaw is the fact that nobody has any unique powers.
Yeah, it's not like, even with Naruto, there's, people have. Oh, hang on.
I was gonna say, how can we forget Piccolo's unique ability of Close Beam?
But no one ever uses it.
What do you mean?
No one uses it in combat. Like, it's the ultimate combat ability, and no one uses it. You think Vegeta's going to be able to fight a dude when all of a sudden he's wearing a dress? No. Like, he was barely happy wearing a pink shirt.
Like, you're all about pride, huh? Well, how's this?
No, the frilly pink dress. No.
How's your pride now?
Like, he would honestly probably just go naked.
I didn't need that.
Just strip it all off and just be like, fuck you!
I didn't need that.
Well, too bad. You got it. Anyway, They punched a lot. They literally just spent the entire episode punching, so there's not anything to talk about in this episode.
Well,
Yeah.
the instant transmission Kamehameha is at least a teensy bit clever.
Yeah, that was cool.
And it just, you know, however you want to put this, it basically gets a direct hit, but then Cell basically has Hack's abilities, and
Yeah,
it doesn't
broken as
matter.
shit. Goku had him.
Even though he
Boy.
derived his powers from Piccolo, he was able to do something that Piccolo cannot. So
Yeah, so I'm calling bullshit.
Sonic?
I was good.
also, this is spoilers.
Well,
Sonic is like, I can't even hear him because he's just cutting in and out.
yeah, he kind of is.
I was gonna say the part where Cell's just sitting there. It's like, why did you not finish him off? Let's just stare at his half body and sure hope he's actually dead.
Well, I mean, to give him the benefit of the doubt, like there's been no other creature I think up to this point that's been able to regenerate their head.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, it's basically like he, from what they understand of beating someone, you don't get much more dead than being a pair of legs. You know.
I mean, if you were playing a Resident Evil game and blown off the head of a zombie, you're assumed they're dead.
Yeah.
But
I mean, even like, Frieza, it's like, you blow his head off, okay, problem solved.
well, it's kind of just okay. Well, that was a cool move, but it kind of didn't work and didn't really do anything. So yeah, that's that.
So,
but I bet
like Naruto.
But I bet this this Kai beam, whatever you call it, turret, the thing that Goku ended the episode on is gonna win. I bet it's gonna do it. The Kai blast spam.
It's
gonna work.
Spam is always a sign that somebody's winning a fight.
Trunks even said it's working. It's working.
Like Trunks knows what works. His entire life is to be just as big a jobber as his dad is.
Speaking of that spam, that was a weird way to end the episode.
Yeah, it's like when they were cutting the
regeneration.
Yeah, it's like when they were cutting the episode to short it down for Kai. They just couldn't time it well to get on a better ending point. They're just like, fuck it, end it there.
I can't be bothered.
I'm pretty sure that was not the end of an episode in the original run.
No. I mean, I think in the original run they just ended it on Cell regenerating.
Yeah, probably. Or no, they probably ended it with him being down for the count and like, is he dead? Find out.
Next time on Dragon Ball Z.
And then the next episode is just entirely him standing up and regenerating with multiple reaction faces.
No, that's the preview for the next episode. I was like, next time on Dragon Ball Z, Cell regenerates. Like,
they should just lie and say, next time on Dragon Ball Z, we won.
Yeah.
So I this is kind of a tangent, but I remember when I was watching this as a kid, when like in its original airing, they always gave a next episode preview, like always. Except one time they didn't. There was one time they didn't, and this was on like its first, premiering, not a rerun. Was when Gohan goes like all out on Frieza, like the one time he gets like really angry. Yeah. And like it ended on the episode like, did Gohan defeat him? And it actually didn't do an episode preview. Now, even as a kid, I figured it didn't, but like I thought I thought that was kind of like, wow, they intentionally left out the episode preview here for suspense.
Like they
Anyways, that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, like they did it good for once, Like that's sort of the problem with the with the next time previews, is that it completely kills whatever suspense you happen to have.
Well, good thing we don't get those on Toonami.
Yeah.
Well, we kind of do, but
because none of us know what's going to happen.
I have no idea. I have no idea how they're going to beat Cell. I mean, who's going to do it, guys? Who?
Yamcha.
Son of a bitch.
He's been hiding his true power this whole time.
And then Krillin heel turns.
Okay, One Punch Man.
Yeah, let's move on because there's nothing else.
One Punch Man. One Punch Man episode 12, The Strongest Hero. Okay, Sonic, it's your time to shine.
Oh yes, we got to see this awesome fight twice in the same night. Oh, it was like this, it's just a pure, unadulterated joy watching this fight. This like it's the same joy I must have imagined kids must have discovered when they were watching Dragon Ball Z back in the '90s because it was just something they never saw before. Just just the choreography, the animation was good. Those callbacks to the first episode, like with the heartbeat.
Mhm.
The intro song inserted.
Yeah, got the
Yeah.
old
That
playing
was
as
fantastic. Like that was really hype when they started playing the intro song. I was like, yes.
So I actually am not a big fan of the intro song by itself, but I thought
Yeah.
it fit really well in the actual like where they inserted it, like
Mhm.
as a background track. I actually think it works better like that almost.
No, it worked
So
really well as a background track there, you know?
it worked a lot better than that whatever track they used in Dragon Ball Z during that Trunks fight.
Oh God, that
That
was
was
horrible.
so like awkward.
What were they thinking?
Say that it's nice to know that you'll have my back when I go for Sono Chino Sadame over the hero for best opening.
I would agree with that.
I could be down.
Well, we have
No,
three right. We have three right there. So.
no, but like, and I absolutely love how the entire time, you know, Boros is like, "Oh, you're finally a worthy adversary," and yet, if you're paying any attention at all, you know that Saitama's just been completely like screwing around with them.
I kind of like that they decided. I mean, I know this is the finale of the season, but in the
Yeah.
manga, it was just another fight, probably, or the end
No,
of an arc or whatever.
it
But
was a pretty good fight there too.
but it's like it kind of feels like a typical plot progression would be that this fight is when Saitama finally meets an equal, but that kind of
Yeah.
feels almost too typical. So that they actually just kind of made it like, nope, it's still just another pushover
Yeah.
for him. But they kind of framed it in a way that
Like he's not completely garbage.
well, they kind of framed it in a way that Boros is kind of similar to Saitama,
Yeah.
and like so they could draw parallels there, and that's how they did
Hmm.
this tying of the first episode to
Yeah.
the last episode. But even so, they were able to draw some parallels there and do some of this like symmetry type stuff, but still, it's just no match for Saitama. So I kind of
Yeah.
feel like I'm glad they didn't just go the typical route of finally a final boss that's kind of like uh, a match because it wasn't.
No,
So
it
I
wasn't like.
appreciate that.
Yeah. No, that was cool. And I also liked how over the course of the fight, like you could see that Boros could do sort of things that you know his minions could do, like you know the guy on the ground who reformed around the marble. Like Boros had one of those things too, and you know you could tell how much trouble Boros would give everyone else in the series. Like he'd probably wreck them all instantly.
I someone like I hear some weird sound effects from someone's mic. Sounds like waves or something. I don't know.
Sorry.
Someone breathing too hard. Anyway,
He's
I
surfing on the ocean.
one thing there's so I think like a lot of the like in the last two episodes, I think a lot of the voice
Yeah.
acting, especially Boros, was done pretty well.
Oh,
You know,
Boros is really good.
yeah, the Saitama, the main character, Tornado, I thought had some really funny, amusing lines.
Hmm.
But the one line that just I don't know if this is what was said in Japanese, but just kind of felt really awkwardly expressed was like when Boros is talking to himself, just like anaerobic exercise. This really tires me out and shortens my life. It's like that was just kind of a really awkwardly inserted explanation that didn't need to be there at
Yeah.
all. I mean, I guess that has nothing to do with voice acting, but it was just like, why did they even need to say that? Like, it's
I think I think it was one of those things where they're aping, you know,
they're trying to
sort
make
of
them.
yeah, like it's the usual progression of how these things go, and
I,
they were just
they're basically just showing, or they're basically just telling with words. Oh yeah, this guy is
yeah,
fighting all out to the extremes of his abilities. It still kind of
yeah,
just felt really awkward. The comparison to anaerobic exercise I thought was just kind of really out there too.
no,
It just is like
I'm with you on that.
really blunt. Like, anyways, that's just a small thing, but it just kind of stuck out.
No, but I
So
mean, like for that sort of thing, like I thought it was just them going, oh, this is, how it would usually progress. He's beaten and
Yeah.
now, he's on his way back, but everyone else is going to have to fight him, but he's weakened himself enough to the point where they can hold him off until Saitama gets back. Oh, wait, that's not happening. He's back and he's just going to morph him now.
Well, kind of on the other end of the spectrum, though, apparently when Saitama gets knocked to the moon in the manga, he has some like internal monologue basically explaining, oh, gravity is lighter, so maybe I can jump back, basically.
Yeah.
And they removed that entirely, which was that was for the better, I say.
Yeah, no, I mean,
He doesn't need to explain everything he's doing.
Yeah, no,
So
the thing with the rock, sort of floating a little bit before falling back into his hand, I think was a better explanation of that.
yeah, like you don't need to have him like explain everything to the audience with dialogue. So that was good. I like that. But like Zonic said, obviously this was a high. They threw a lot of money at this show.
Oh, definitely.
So obviously they weren't gonna slack on the final episode. So it was very, very well produced. And
This episode alone is basically best looking show of the year.
Yeah,
I think that's a pretty gonna if we do a category for like that, if we do awards, that's gonna win. I don't think anything else competes.
I mean, just the fight between, like the final confrontation between Saitama and Boros, when Boros uses like his ultimate attack and Saitama uses the serious punch. Like that alone, I think would be enough to win it.
I can't think of something that could get me more hyped in a show than Saitama just being like, okay, serious now.
just the one serious punch he's thrown in the entire series, and he like splits the Earth's atmosphere in two for like hundreds of thousands of miles.
And like Boros' blast is like a dinky little thing.
Speaking of that, you look at the scene where the clouds are parting on the Earth. If you look at the little corner, you can actually see the clouds parting from Boros' beam.
And you can see his beam redirect a little bit too. Yeah, no, but that was like really friggin' hype.
And the Melzergard fight finished pretty good too.
The what fight? Oh, is that the tentacle guy?
Yeah. No, he was the goop reformation guy.
The Shin Megami Tensei guy. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like that definitely got overshadowed, though. Like the S-class heroes were so proud of themselves for beating him, and like I have a feeling if they saw the Saitama fight, they'd all be like, "Yeah, no, fuck that."
That's kind of what a Mind Mask said when he showed up, and he's just like, "I am a douche. I'm a massive douche."
Yeah. I mean,
are people really upset that he's called a My Mask and not Sweet Mask? Like, I don't know. A Sweet Mask just doesn't sound right. I don't know.
I don't really care, honestly.
When it comes to translating names like that, it's, sometimes the
tricky.
Translation makes sense, but sometimes I think it just works better to keep it Japanese.
Yeah.
Kind of like in Naruto when they're calling her Granny Cat. That
doesn't work.
I think it just works better just to keep it, Neko Ma or whatever it was. So it just...
It sounds better, like you don't always need the direct translation.
And it's not like if you don't know what Amai means, it's not like it's really a huge, you're missing out on anything.
Right. Well, like in terms of, names, they don't always need to be translated right away. Like if you were to translate something like Rasengan in Naruto, it would be like spiraling sphere, and it's like
or Kamehameha.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if Kamehameha even translates to anything, or Kaioken.
Kamehameha, I thought was like a Hawaiian.
That's what I heard.
No,
but like
it's
Kaioken,
Hawaii.
But like if Kaioken, if they like translated that to like, I don't know, spirit or
it doesn't work.
Like it might be factually true, but it just keep it Japanese for like stuff like that.
As cool. Yeah, like if translated.
Now consecutive normal punches.
That was fantastic.
You translate that because it kind of sounds like as plain and straightforward as you want it to sound.
Yeah, like it's supposed to be like this lame thing, like, oh, he's just using consecutive normal. Oh shit, he just blew this guy apart.
Anyways, that was a tangent.
Yeah, it was.
Anyway, so Genos took the biggest L anyone has ever taken in this show.
What was it? They were ignoring Tornado, and basically it was like, bring it on, and then got smacked.
Yeah.
See modern art once again.
And then Saitama ripped his arm off accidentally.
And that's literally how the series ends.
I mean, like, he can't go a single fight without losing an arm lately, you know? Like, every fight he's been in the series, I think he's lost an arm.
or lost something, yeah.
Yeah, like, he finally went an entire, arc without, sustaining ultra heavy damage. And now it's like, oh no, my arm is gone.
Well, apparently he knows somebody who can fix him up perfectly after each time he gets destroyed. So
I mean, he just goes back to Dr. Light, and he's fine.
I know, that's got to be frustrating. It's like, God damn it, my arm is gone.
you think Dr. Light would be pretty upset with him by now? Like, I don't have infinite resources here.
But actually, Genos didn't fight at all. He didn't do anything.
Yep.
That's why he had both his arms.
It seems like they're intentionally making it so that like Genos is kind of like comic relief. So it's I don't think this is like they're poor. I don't think it's intentional. It seems like it's not like poorly using a character like to their potential. Like this is intentionally what Genos is made to be. So
yeah.
Like it's not like some other shows where maybe side characters or other characters don't get time in the spotlight, like Dragon Ball Z or Naruto or whatever. Yeah, but like it seems like this is clearly a deliberate thing to have them just be modern art.
No, and I mean it works because he's the pretty guy, and you think.
And they fit it into the story.
Yeah.
I mean, I know
well.
One Punch Man's story is not like it's selling point, but
no,
that
it's not
he gets the credit for everything, even though Saitama is kind of like this dorky guy is actually the one doing everything. So that's Anyways, One Punch Man I think was a very like as soon as I knew it was a thing, like it was gonna be on Toonami sooner or later. It was a perfect fit. It rated well. I know some people don't like the humor or anything like that, and I think the fact that it was only 12 episodes, I think it helps. I know there's still more later.
I think there's only 12 episodes worth of content at this point.
Yeah, but I feel like it didn't overstay its welcome. The pacing was good.
Right.
There were a couple parts of the show I wasn't totally sold on. Like I felt like the Sea King part was. I don't know. I kind of feel like it was almost redundant, but
the Sea King part really was where
that's when people basically, in terms of the story, where they, at least the way I saw it, was when people finally started noticing that Saitama was this crazy, strong hero.
And in terms of actual writing, it's sort of where one set the template for everything going forward. Like if you were to give it an equivalent from like One Piece, it would basically be like the Arlong Park arc, where
ironically both involving fish dudes.
Yeah, it's basically where the writer finally figured out, oh, okay, this is how the arcs should generally look going forward because this is how they work, this is how everything connects properly, Like it sort of set the template for everything going forward in One Punch Man. So even if it wasn't that great, it's still, and I mean, I agree, it's not a fantastic arc, but everything else from that point on is sort of built on that structure of, villain going around killing guys, other heroes doing stuff to try and stop him, and then Saitama showing up and saving the day and getting no credit.
Silence.
I was going to make cricket sounds.
Can you make cricket sounds?
Cricket. Cricket. I just said they were good sounds.
No, that's can you talk like a Pokemon?
Cricketmon.
I can't talk like
that's a Digimon, Seda.
Cricketoon.
A general rule is that if it has Mon in the name, then it's a Digimon.
That is true.
Yeah.
Let's move on to Gundam.
Oh, God.
Mobile Suit Gundam Iron Blooded Orphans episode 17, Cudelia's Decision. So she's basically like, hey, I'm gonna stand up for you guys. What's your guys' deal again?
Yeah, like I mentioned this before when we were getting ready, but we still have no idea what the underlying conflict of this show is. Like
Yes.
we have the shifting alliances, we have the revolution, we have, all the surface level stuff, but we have no idea what's driving any of it.
I said this in the thread. I think like on a micro scale, like with individual characters, things work
Yeah,
sometimes, not all the times, but sometimes.
right.
Like I feel like the problems that this show has isn't necessarily built into the cast of characters.
Right.
It's more the
It's the
setting that
macro.
they're in. Yeah, it's
It's not
so
explained enough.
we like we're on this colony,
Hmm.
and apparently like they start supplying these colonists with weapons, and like
For
apparently
reasons.
nobody realized that they had weapons. Like not a single person realized that this was weapons.
Yeah.
So that's like, okay, that's kind of an unbelievable thing. Then they
Right.
like some like people that are loyal to Gallarhorn, which let me step aside for a second. We still don't really know what Gallarhorn like
We don't know what anything is.
they talked about it briefly in a previous episode. Apparently like
Yeah.
Gallarhorn was like this military force that stopped a war in the past. I forget
Yeah.
what they called the war, but I think that's kind of all we know, and that they kind of are
Yeah.
like in control, but we haven't like seen anything like that their control is
What's the point?
unfair or unjust, or
Right.
like
We just know
there's
they're in
something about
charge.
these. Yeah, and like I don't think I've seen enough for them to be
We need a revolution.
like seen as the villain or the bad guy.
They
Right.
keep a
Like
iron grip on the flow of hair gel.
Yeah, like at
Yeah.
this point, I'm still convinced this is all being fought over hair gel because there's no other solution that makes sense to this. Like, yeah,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Well, at the onset of the show, there was like this conflict between Gallarhorn and like this, I forget what their name was at the time, but like this this military group with child soldiers. But
Right.
it didn't. But they pretty much
Abandoned it.
well they pretty much portrayed both of those groups as evil, like these
Yeah.
child soldiers. You're not supposed to root for the child soldiers, the people employing child soldiers.
No,
But
it's not
anyways, that
good.
was so long ago that I feel like we haven't established why is Gallarhorn bad. Like, what are they doing
Yeah.
that is or unfair or whatever.
Right.
But anyways,
Well,
going
they're
back to
very rich.
yeah.
Well, who cares? I
Going
mean,
back to
like,
my point, that was all an aside. Going back to my point,
Yeah.
like they apparently armed these colonists with weapons, and then like
Mhm.
somebody loyal to Gallarhorn
Snitched.
recognized a girl as Cudelia,
Who cares?
and it wasn't Cudelia, it was Atra, and like that's not really believable either. Like I know
They look
someone
alike.
I know someone in the thread said like, well, you wouldn't know what the princess of India would look like. Yeah, like yeah, could look it up on my phone in 2 seconds if there was one.
Yeah.
Especially
So
if my organization was actively trying to kill her.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
what
and then
this person looked like.
and also like Cudelia, apparently they showed a flashback in a previous episode that she saw some homeless people, and that like steeled her
God.
resolve or something.
Oh,
But
this
what does that have to
puny.
do with
I don't-
Gallarhorn? And so I guess Gallarhorn, I guess they have established. Let me give them some credit. They have established that
Okay.
Gallarhorn wants Cudelia dead,
That's about it.
but they haven't really explained like
Why?
like why,
Yeah.
and what is Cudelia's reasoning for like being against Gallarhorn,
They want her dead.
and why does she make a good political figure other than saying
Yeah.
she wants to be one?
Yeah.
And
It makes no
there's
sense.
it's vaguely like there are some things vaguely in place, but there's just way too many holes
Right.
to make it truly believable and compelling.
I mean,
So
sort of going to, I mean, every Gundam, series is basically based off of like pre-World War One and sort of the shifting alliances and stuff. But the problem is that they were all fighting over colonies. They were fighting over trade routes and materials, and they were all racing to set up colonies. And so any conflict that was going on, you could trace back to that one thing. The problem we're having here is, I think, that we don't know what that one thing that's driving all of this conflict is. We don't know why there's all these alliances going on. We don't know why one group doesn't like the other group. We can't fit any of it together in this big puzzle because we don't know what it's supposed to look like.
The
And I-
Hairgel mines of Uranus.
And I mentioned this before we started recording.
Yeah.
Like in the 2 episodes ago, I think they
Right.
like these now armed rebels literally
Why are
literally went up to Gallarhorn's door, like their local like parliament
Yeah.
or whatever it was on this one colony, and they grab a microphone and they're literally about to give their demands. And at this point, I'm thinking, they're actually going to explain, like, are they going to are they going to show like what Gallarhorn is doing that is so bad?
Yeah.
And then they literally, like, as soon as they
cut
start
away.
talking, they cut away to like Cadelia or something, and it's just like. It felt like a literal hand wave, like, oh yeah, we don't need to explain this because we didn't actually establish this. It's just
That's absolutely what needs to be established, though. None of this works unless you know what the underlying conflict is. Like, that should have been like episode 1
Yeah.
is, established there. This is why everyone's fighting. This is what, you could have tied in the child soldier thing to it. You could have tied everything all together in this nice little bow and made it easy for everyone to understand, but instead it's being dragged out over God knows how many episodes.
And like, we saw this on Mars and on the colony Dort. Like we saw some of these colonists, we saw some of the people on Mars, and like most people seem like, okay, they're have cool jobs, they're just living, they're just
like they're not
working.
Rich.
Like it hasn't shown them like being like in super duper well, high standards of living or anything like that, but it hasn't shown them being like
they're not in like oppressive, like
I think Cadelia
African poverty or something.
I think Cadelia even said like they've been oppressed and beaten. It's like, really? Have we seen this?
They don't look like it. It don't look like they've been impressed.
And also I forget if this was in the previous episode or the one before that, but like she literally goes up to somebody and is like, tell me everything you know about these people. And then I think at the end of this most current episode, she's like, let me explain what's been happening. Like, okay, maybe we'll finally get something, even though it feels like finally. Even if in the next episode they do finally show, okay, this is why there is a rebellion, it still feels like it's misplaced. Even if it finally explains like a missing piece here, it still feels like it's in the wrong spot.
Yeah, it should have been way earlier. Like they're trying to make this sort of a mystery as to, well, at least it feels like they're trying to make it a mystery as to sort of what's driving all these, alliances and the rebellions and the fighting.
And why that. And why the heck Cadelia wants to go to Earth in the first place, which we still haven't got to.
But that's not the thing that should be a mystery. That's the thing that should be like, that's the thing you should know. The mystery should be, who's allied with who, which is also a mystery. Because apparently the Tewaz guys aren't exactly good dudes either,
I mean, Tewaz basically just agreed to help against Gallarhorn. But they seem just to be kind of like, in
it for themselves too. Like they don't.
Yeah, they're not really interested in these politics. I think Tewaz, they've been established well enough that, okay, we know that they're not really a part of the big picture here. They're just kind of like really like they're not really intimately involved. They're just kind of like a group of muscle to do whatever people hire them to do. Yeah,
they're just in it to make some money.
Okay, so let me throw some praises now that we've criticized this to heck and back. I do think this show, compared to other Gundam shows, and I haven't seen a ton, I do think I do think a good amount of the characters are believable in their reactions to the world around them, into how they are talking with each other, how they respond to each other and the events around them. So I feel like it's like not every character, even Atra, who was pretty bad for a while, got a couple of pluses from me after she got captured, even though the fact that she got captured in the first place was kind of bullshit. It kind of built her up as a character a little bit more. and she also hasn't been so focused on this love triangle crap. So I feel like she's improved. But anyways, I feel like the characters are pretty good.
Yeah.
Like in general, I think Mika is good. I think Atra is better. I think Kudelia is so. It's just
like she's okay.
And I think Orga and Mika and Biscuit, I think, so far has been a really believable character.
Yeah.
But the setting they've been placed in is not doing them any favors.
Working. Right. I mean, I'm in agreement with all of that. Like, my main complaint about the show is that they're making things into a mystery that should absolutely not be mysterious at all.
I also think
I like the characters. I sort of, I like what they're doing. I like the general setup of the show. I just don't like the fact that they're hiding this stuff that they shouldn't be hiding, and it makes everything muddled and confused.
I'm not so certain they're doing it on purpose. It feels like they're just poorly said, and I'm not expecting them to like. Sometimes I'm afraid that I don't want them to be like over expository and like explain things in digest form, but like they haven't explained anything. They haven't shown anything.
Yeah, I mean, at least give a hint as to what's driving the main conflict. Like as far as we know, it's the hair Joe mines of Uranus.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So I want to, Zonic, do you have any thoughts on this episode?
Nope. All I can really say is that thanks to these last few episodes, my interest has just been going way downhill. And then this is pretty much my first Gundam series I'm watching.
There's some better ones.
That I basically, my fears of I'm not going to get into it because of the way it handles its politics is becoming true. I couldn't even remember most of what happened in the last episode. All I could think of was there was a shot of Kudelia in her underwear.
That's, of course, the first thing you remember.
It's very important that she be half naked to put on this pendant.
Of course.
It's extremely important. It has to be this way.
I'm surprised they gave her underwear.
On that, too. We need to get every detail.
Basically, so Gallarhorn... Okay, so let me maybe give them a little bit more credit here. Once these colonists came into position, Gallarhorn basically sabotaged it to make it look like the colonists attacked first, and then Gallarhorn basically used that as an excuse to basically cause this fight scene. There was actually a little bit of battle in the last episode, but we still don't. So I'm not saying Gallarhorn is like the pinnacle of purity here, but I still feel like there hasn't been enough established to like why is this conflict even here in the first place?
Exactly.
But also one other thing I want to mention is that there are a lot of and this kind of ties back to the Atra being mistaken as Kudelia thing. There's like a lot of coincidences and misconceptions that are moving the plot forward that I don't like either. Like we had a couple episodes that occurred just because they thought Atra was Kudelia, which didn't make any sense, and then. I might be forgetting something here, but the Char wannabe showed up.
Well, I mean, there's
he showed up and he basically outed to Kudelia that Fumitan is hiding something from her. It just kind of, if I remember correctly, it kind of came out of nowhere, just like.
Well, someone had to tell her. I mean, it's not like Fumitan was hiding it very well.
Yeah. But anyways, then basically they're like running around the colony, like. She's literally looking for Fumitan. Kudelia is looking for Fumitan on the colony, and then she just so happens to run out right into the middle of where the demonstration is taking place. So literally, it's like a positioning thing here. Like she literally just happens to fall into that spot, and then someone happened to recognize her, even though she was apparently not very well recognizable before, because someone else thought someone else was Kudelia.
And then Fumitan happened to be there.
Yeah, and Fumitan was like literally across the street. It's just kind of like too many coincidences piling on top of each other here. And then it's just, so those things, this larger construction things, is just really bringing the show down. And it's just, and let me just say, it's still like significantly better than Gundam 00. Significantly better. All these issues. Yeah, that show is just total trash.
Gundam 00 is like the worst. Because it has all these problems, and then nobody likes the characters either. Like with Iron Blade Orphans, like my only main complaint is just that we have no idea what's driving any of this. You know, like I could live with the coincidences and stuff. You know, like I'm okay with it. You know, sometimes you
Yeah.
got to do
I mean,
that
there's
to
always gonna
set
be
up a
some.
scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you got to set up your scene somehow. So, you know, I'm okay with that. It's just I cannot stand not knowing why all these big moves are happening. You know, like that shouldn't be something that's hidden, and that's
And
my only
if
complaint.
it feels so off. It feels like I've missed something, but I don't think I
Yes.
have. Like,
No,
what do we know? We know that Gallarhorn basically
they
solved a
run
war.
things.
They solved a war a long time ago. They're apparently
And they
in
run things in
charge.
space, right? The
So they're
colonies,
in charge of this region.
right? The colonies are
And
basically doing the work so people on Earth don't have to.
so when people are in charge, sometimes they might not be ruling over the people well, but they haven't
Correct.
shown us how. And they also have shown us that Gallarhorn wants to kill Cadelia, so
For
they don't want
reasons.
people rebelling against them,
Well,
but
I
we
mean, yeah,
don't know
rebelling.
why. I feel like they just needed to show like
Why the rebellion?
anyways, yeah, so anyways we're kind of going in circles here, but yeah,
Yeah.
Well, this has
long
been
story.
your half hour of Seda gets it all off his chest about Gundam, so.
Hey, I had stuff on my chest.
Hey, I think the fact that I put some time into thinking about this shows that I do have interest in the show. It's not
Yeah.
it's not something like Sword Art Online or Agami Ka Kill. I'm just like,
No, who cares?
shit, whatever. Let's talk about the next show.
Yeah,
So
like there's redeemable parts of this show. It's just I can't stand feeling like I missed something even though I haven't. You know, like we shouldn't be feeling like this. Like we missed like an episode even though we've seen all of them. And I'm like, did there's days I'm watching this and I can't help but think, did they accidentally not air an episode at some point? You
No.
know, I know, but it feels like that. And I don't think, you know, if you're doing it right, it should never feel like that.
Hunter x
all
Hunter.
right, let's see if the next episode is better. Okay.
They might all be explained next episode. Who knows?
Hunter x Hunter.
That's more of a band-aid than a
Than a fix, but
than anything else. Yeah.
well, I mean, at least
Hunter
we'll
Hunter.
know. Hunter.
Hunter x Hunter.
Episode something or other, 23.
Oh, I can't. I just need a pause, please. Hunter x Hunter. Hunter x Hunter episode 23, The Guard's Duty. Weighted clothing! It's a classic.
They
Wait, say that
actually
again?
changed this up. The weighted clothing's a classic. No, but they
Oh.
changed this up a little bit from the manga.
Now it's just weighted everything.
Yeah, no, I mean in the manga, like each of them could open the first door on their own, but Leorio could open the second one too. Like they all didn't have to work together to open it.
Maybe they just kind of decided to change the thematics of it a bit, I guess.
Yeah,
They just
I guess.
it's kind of. I think it just kind of mostly just done to just condense it. So
I guess, or you know, I mean, thematically, it fits more with the "hey, everybody worked together and they succeeded," you know, shtick they like to do.
okay, so let me jump to the second part of the episode where they
Yeah.
meet Canary, who is like this butler, like servant of this
Yeah,
assassin's household,
yeah.
and she's basically like, "You're not allowed past this line,"
Mm-hmm.
and then
Well, I'm just going to
Don't
walk forward over and over and over again.
And you're gonna
I
beat the
feel-
shit out of me.
so like I feel like it's okay if a character, if one of their traits is that they're stubborn, and that's especially in shonen. You usually have that character who is like,
Someone's
never-
always stubborn.
yeah, never give up. Is shonen, like the three elements of shonen in my mind are never give up, gotta get stronger, protect my friends. Those are the three things in shonen.
There's usually hot-blooded too.
Well, I don't know. Never give up. Got to get stronger. Protect my friends. Those are the three
Yeah.
shonen things in my mind. But I feel like Gon, we've already kind of established like 2 or 3 episodes ago that he's like incredibly, ridiculously
Right.
stubborn. And,
Right.
I do feel like they almost purposely exaggerate how stubborn he is. He's not just stubborn. He is crazily stubborn to the fact that when there was during that little mini tournament arc with the rules flipped on their head, he didn't want to give up, but he was also too stubborn to let the other person give up either. That's how
Yeah.
stubborn he was.
Right.
So I feel like introducing this part now where it's like, look, he's stubborn again. I feel like we just went over this. So it's kind of feel like, is this all Gon has to offer?
No, I mean,
We're only 20 episodes into like a 150
Yeah.
episode thing, but it still feels like if this is all Gon is, then he's not really clicking with me.
no, I mean, the
At
thing
this
is,
point.
yeah, no, the thing is that he is very much like Hunter x Hunter is very much sort of a deconstruction of, the standard shonen. Like those three things, never give up, protect the friends, got to get strong. Like it very purposely deconstructs those three things, but it starts off with establishing them. Like this arc is Gon goes never give up. Next arc is got to get stronger. And then after those three things are established, it then takes them apart and shows what would happen if you are those things and you're not actually in a shonen. Because at some point it turns into basically a seinen, which is more like what Black Lagoon is. So
Yeah.
while Gon does have these things, at the same time, it stops going well for him.
Okay, Zonic,
Yeah.
before you take a break for Shippuden, what are your thoughts on this episode?
It was okay. I mean, since we're already talking about Canary, it seems kind of weird how it was handled. Like to go with Golm's determination. Didn't we kind of have a few episodes
Yeah,
or
we
two?
did.
Was basically, I'm gonna keep being stubborn. All right, fine, I give in to your stubbornness.
I think for me it was the fact that I was
And-
literally only like 3 episodes ago.
Yeah,
So
it
it's
wasn't
not
very
like
far
it's not like it's like this echoing of a previous arc or something. Because sometimes having
Right.
these like echoes in a series where they like do these callbacks or maybe not like a direct callback, but those types of things work. But like we just saw this, so I kind of feel like now I don't know where the story goes, but like they could have removed Canary out entirely, and had what was it at the very end? It was that kill his mom or his aunt or something.
Yeah, no, that's his mom.
Was literally like you're not getting any closer to him because he doesn't have friends or whatever she said. Like I feel like you could have just had that and not this whole Canary thing. Like what was the point of that?
No, you need her for the next episode.
So yeah, that's where I don't know what happens. So right now, but that is my thoughts at the moment. It's like that felt pointless. It may not be, but right now it did.
Right.
Funny thing to consider. Every single member of this family, except for the mother, is a guy.
Yeah.
Well,
well,
I mean that's true. That's true in my family too. I have 3 brothers. My dad.
I mean,
and my
you
mom.
say that, but there's a little bit of a thing.
Apparently, there's one effeminate guy. Apparently, this is hasn't been revealed yet, but that's what they're talking about.
It's actually way more complicated than that, and but that's not until like near the end of the entire series.
Oh, way later.
Yeah, this is like way later. We're introduced to a specific member of the family that, in the Japanese, Togashi tends to use gender neutral pronouns when referring to them. So, the translations go, both between him and her. So it's really, like, there's a little bit of nuance to that.
I like how Canary was just like, all right, I'll help you guys. Boom, headshot.
I also kind of feel like the fact that this was condensed into like the 10-minute back half, it almost felt like it made it more pointless. Like if it was like a whole episode, it may be like obviously the pacing would suffer, but it almost hammered in more. Like he's been going at this, for a whole episode dedicated to it. Then it just kind of felt like this little addendum that didn't need to be there. So it's kind of awkward either way, but
like it does feel like this part of the episode and next episode should have been one episode. Like just expand the door thing and do it like they did in the manga, and just have this be part of next episode.
I mean,
I
I
think
figure
they
I
work
figure in the large scheme of things, these like 2 episodes probably are pretty meaningless in the
Yeah,
grand
no,
scheme
they
of
don't.
things.
They don't matter at all.
Yeah, but it just kind of that's where we are right now. So it
Yeah.
kind of that's what we got to watch.
No, and I generally agree. I just think it's a matter of not planning it out properly in terms of what scenes go where. I
Yeah,
feel like
it was kind of a nothing episode though, just whatever.
yeah, nothing really happened. They opened the door. Gon got beat up again. His arm was fixed with just in time for him to get the shit beat out of him again. So it didn't look like she was beating on some guy with a broken arm.
I will say this whole dynamic of raised an assassin and kind of now struggling with his upbringing and his new friend, it is very shonen, but I feel like it's been established pretty well. So like the more bigger picture here is I'm interested to see this eventual confrontation between Killua and Gon and the rest of them, and like what is going to happen here. It's like I said, it feels still very shonen, but it's there's enough there that I'm like, okay, I'm curious.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, that's basically where this series is for.
I mean, heck, it makes a lot more. This whole "let's go get Killua back" is a heck of a lot more.
Iron-blooded orphans.
Well, it's a heck of a lot more compelling than "let's get Sasuke back." So.
Well, I mean, everything is more compelling than that.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, okay, it's
Sasuke.
I mean, the actual Sasuke rescue arc was definitely compelling, but when it's like the entire series is like,
let's get Sasuke back. You didn't know him that well.
200 episodes later, and time skip, and
yeah, and it's still the same shit. Yeah. Okay.
So I guess it's time for Naruto Shippuden, huh? Naruto Shippuden, episode 130, The Man Who Became God.
So Pain
I'm
is
God,
like
I'm God, I'm God, I'm God, I'm God.
He's like.
Jiraiya is my
I think
dude.
a lot of the villains, like Orochimaru, especially in Naruto, are not bad, and even some of the Akatsuki members have like some quirks to them or things like that. Like Hidan, stole the scene whenever he was there. I think.
Yeah, he was just hilarious with his shit.
And even like Datara, like he wasn't great, but he kind of.
Bad.
But yeah, he was kind of just like average. But Pain is like so stereotypical, like you are all
bad
insects.
Guy.
I am better than human. You don't know nothing, and it's just
Also, his name is Pain.
Seriously,
yeah, and I've mentioned this before, but this whole and a lot of things stories have this sort of backdrop where it's like where it all revolves around nukes.
Yeah,
that kind of just. That still bugs me in One Piece how a lot of it has to do with super weapons.
Well, hey, that's kind of in the very background thing.
Yeah,
it's the prominence. The prominence is different.
No, and I will say that you're not entirely caught up. So what you're thinking of isn't exactly how it shakes out.
But the whole fact that like this nuclear deterrence thing is
like
kind
the
of
main thing is like absolutely just like mad, Cold War type shit.
Yep.
That's exactly what it is.
It's basically Cold War, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm not a big fan of the plan. This is going to be an absolutely fantastic fight.
Yeah, the next episode's pretty good, at least in terms of animation and action. So
yeah,
Jiraiya summoned Long Frog is long.
Long Frog is long, and it was also inside of him the entire.
Oh,
Long Frog was inside him.
Was that this previous episode? That was like
that was this episode.
Yeah, I forgot about it. It's a very poorly done. This is like it's almost. Let me say 2 things. I think the whole Jiraiya like mini arc here. I think it almost comes about too quickly.
Yeah.
But it's still probably one of the better parts of the show.
Definitely.
like in terms of a string of episodes.
Like
but
I wish it was more drawn out.
Yeah, it kind of comes apart or comes together very quickly. Like we literally had a flashback to establish this connection, but
Yeah.
this whole like he summoned this frog and he basically just like they're dumping exposition for like 10-15 minutes.
Yeah.
That's like it's almost like a primer. This is how you do not do storytelling.
Right.
There's, like,
don't do these things.
And also just like they're kind of like making up rules as they go. Like
Yeah.
I've seen this episode before, but I totally forgot about this. Like I have the seal, it's inside of me, but now we're gonna like he did something with the seal. I don't even know what he did exactly. He put his hand on it. And then he's gonna put it inside of Naruto, but it won't unlock it. It'll just be there, but it won't unlock it.
Yeah.
But
It
also
reminds me of how I felt reading the last bits of Naruto, where it's like everyone's just throwing around these crazy, names of techniques and skills, and it's like, what the fuck are all? Did I like miss something?
Yeah.
And also, like he's like, well, Yamato or not Yamato. What's Naruto's dad's name? Minato. He sealed away the yin chakra, but not the yang chakra, and
that's not even a thing later on. It's like,
well, like, what does that even mean?
I don't
know. And like, what happened to the other half? If you sealed away half of it, what happened to the other half? Oh, it's also there. So it's like both halves are there.
No, Minato has the other half.
But isn't he dead?
Yeah.
But it's like
it never gets explained properly. Like we have this sort of like, I mean, specifically, when we see Naruto again after this arc, and we're dealing with what's happened here after the next Sasuke thing. We sort of get almost a primer on the yin and yang chakra thing, but we never actually get it explained to us, and it never comes up again. So it's one of those things like it gets introduced, and it's almost
it's just there to confuse you.
Yeah, like it's almost a thing, and it gets mentioned like once or twice, but it never actually does anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like it had the potential to be something cool, but they're like, no, we can't be bothered with that.
And this talk has come up in the thread as well, but like Naruto is Jiraiya's godson.
Yeah.
He's literally named after Jiraiya's character in his book. And Jiraiya knows everything around the circumstances of Naruto's birth. And still he's just like, oh, Naruto, you can just grow up kind of literally as an orphan.
Well, I mean, that's
it builds character.
Well, I mean, the problem is that's what happens when you make shit up as you go along.
I mean, every author makes shit up as they go along, especially for a long-term thing like this. But some people are better at fitting pieces together than others. So,
well, no, I mean, like something like this. I mean, if they gave an explanation as to why Jiraiya couldn't be around, like he was on a secret mission, trying to figure out what exactly happened, and he couldn't take care of him because he was undercover in all the different ninja villages or something. Like, we could buy that. It wouldn't be a great explanation, but at least there'd be one. Right now, it's like, oh, he was just going around being a pervert.
So Conan's made out of paper.
Yeah, she is.
It's kind of lame.
That's where it gets a little bit weird, where it's like it almost feels like a filler character, like ability.
A little bit, yeah.
Like when you have like characters with chakra abilities, and we've kind of been established, so they're like nature based, they can be they can maybe be like flame or water or these elemental things, like things you kind of can relate to nature or things that are found not by human.
Just the ones with the random ones.
Things not made by human hands,
yeah.
Or like Shikamaru has shadows or wind or weapons. I guess like some of them have like weapon arts, but like literally turning myself into paper. Like, is there any other character that has something that's like a man-made thing like that?
That's just a devil fruit.
Yeah. That is a devil fruit. The paper fruit. Well, I mean,
it kind of reminds me of like the filler character who had like a bazooka arm. Like, that's my ninjutsu.
That was fantastic.
Bazooka arm.
Me ninja. Me
just-
fire smoke grenade out of grenade launcher arm.
Honestly, now that I think about it, the paper thing reminds me a little bit of this power that one of the One Piece guys has in the most recent arc, except it's not nearly as hilarious.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
No, you read the last chapter, didn't you?
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about then.
Maybe.
You know, sort of like a bullshit power that you're like, really, this is your power.
Yeah.
You know the one. Yeah, but I'm like, really, this is your power? You're just made out of paper? That seems like bullshit.
I'm still trying to think. Is there any other character that has like a similar power where they can like transform into like a man-made thing? Because like paper is not something you just find in nature. You know, it's
Yeah.
it just seems like it's so out there. Anyway,
hang on, let me think.
I mean, I guess Datara has like mouths on his
Clay.
hands that he turns
Well,
into
no, that's
clay.
clay.
But it's not
You
like
can
he's
find
turning.
clay.
And clay is like something you can find in the earth, you know. So it's
Yeah, well,
obviously it can be processed or whatever, but it's,
yeah.
it's
Yeah, shit. No, yeah, this is fairly unique.
I mean, there's the puppet guy, but he's making puppets and he's
he
using them.
makes
He's
those
not.
himself.
Yeah, and it's like a weapon. It's like a ninja weapon thing. Like I
Yeah,
understand,
like-
but it's just the whole
yeah.
paper, like turning into paper. Like how does that
Yamato
happen?
makes wood.
Yeah, but that's also a nature thing.
Yeah.
So it's.
No, the paper thing makes no sense. I'll straight up agree with you. Like that's crap. But you know,
I mean,
whatever.
if she had like paper bombs and maybe different paper charms and different things like that, but like actually being able to turn my body into paper, I mean,
It seems like bullshit.
fine in an anime, but it feels like it doesn't fit with all the other powers we've seen up to this point, which has been plenty.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway,
I didn't actually expect we'd go into a long conversation about the fact that the person's power is turning into paper.
it's just so weird.
What else do we have to talk about this episode, though?
Nothing.
Hang on.
Pain is a god.
Yeah, he is, and he's.
I love his theme, though. At least.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
and Troy Baker does a pretty good job voicing him.
Is that Troy Baker?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so this is before he priced himself out of the market.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's he do now that he can't, do this anymore?
Video games.
He does the high-profile video games. He was just
He's in
North
every
America.
video
Oh.
game.
He was
He
in
replaced.
Oh.
He replaced Nolan North
Oh, that's depressing.
mostly,
Well, I mean, at least Nolan North doesn't have to do every voice now.
and soon enough, that's going to happen to Matthew Mercer, and I'm going to be sad.
I don't know. Hang on. Someone hasn't spoken.
Zonic.
Well,
Yeah,
he
he
doesn't
doesn't watch
watch
Shippuden.
Naruto.
Oh yeah, I completely forgot. He doesn't watch this.
Zonic, what are your thoughts on Shippuden?
Huh? What?
We're moving on.
Exactly.
That's my thoughts
Frankie's
on-
on.
That's
That's
my thoughts on
everybody's thoughts.
Shippuden.
Yeah. What?
Okay, let's move on now.
Let's move on to One Piece. One Piece, episode 364, Oars, Roars, Come Out, Straw Hat Crew. I kind of can't remember what happened in this episode.
I have the same problem.
We got
I know
the-
that
Chopper
they were setting up
suplex.
for like this gigantic suplex, and then we never get it, and it's like, okay.
No, we got it.
Well, it's sort of like the room fell apart before you could pull it off.
Yeah. They're gonna fight Oars now.
I like how
Well-
Oars literally takes a look at the wanted posters, and he looks down, and he's like, found him.
Okay, so let me just think of the things that happened in the episode. Shindri's like body, like apparently is responsive, like on its own,
Yeah.
and it's kind of separating itself from the shadow within. Hogback almost got suplexed and then he got stomped on. Apparently Absalom is still around and kicked Sanji's butt.
Yeah.
Talon to still be around. I don't know. Zoro, Brooke, and what's his face are still up on the
Frankie.
tower. Yeah, Frankie are just still up there. After the fight, just kind of sitting there, really. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Luffy went to go chase after what's his face, Moria.
You'll never catch me, Star Fox.
I really
Yeah.
the animation of him running away just kind of made it kind of reminded me of like the cheesy like villains like
Yeah.
you'll never catch me.
You'll never get me alive, copper.
So you've seen several episodes of Luffy fighting a shadow while Moria just sits around. Now you
And
can
now we're
see
gonna see
several
several
episodes of Luffy fighting a shadow while they run down the world's longest hallway.
I also noticed that like I don't know if I missed something, but Usopp didn't have his hat at one point, and then he had it on the next episode. Like, where do you get this hat from?
Maybe he
So-
picked it up.
Maybe.
I don't know. They probably just forgot to draw it on.
Zonic, what did you think of this episode?
I'm just glad that it seems like we're going to get to the final fight of the arc.
Yeah, the good stuff.
Or is it
It seems like
back?
it seems like they finally have all the characters like in position. Like, all right,
Yeah.
everyone has done whatever shenanigans
Mhm.
to get them
Yeah.
in position. And
Well,
here they are.
except Absalom.
Except Nami. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Nami and Sanji still have to finish their thing up.
Well, now
Oh,
Sanji's basically right in the sights of the big guy, Oars. So
Well,
while all the straw had to take in Oars, Absalom can just take Nami and do whatever he wants, whatever you imagine that is.
I can't imagine it's very good.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, as long as Nami wakes up, she'll be fine.
So yeah, it seems like they're like finally into like the final third of this arc where it's
Yeah. Like we're finally
we
done with the setup.
we're past the setup. The Ryuma is taken care of. Perona seems to be taken care of. Absalom is not.
Mhm.
Hogback seems to be taken care of. So it's like okay, we're kind of into this final part of it.
I like how
Yeah.
Hogback has bad luck with getting, slammed by large pieces of rubble.
So yeah,
He deserves it.
He really does.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's just set up for what comes next, and what comes next is both awesome and hilarious.
How are you going to take down such a gigantic monster? It's going to require everyone.
Working together in combination.
Yes.
I will say at this point, I don't know if it's just going to be literally like the end of Full Metal Alchemist, where they literally just throw everything they got at him and eventually they'll get him, or if it's going to be like some gimmicky, like jokey trick that like gets him to be defeated. I don't know.
It's the Full Metal Alchemist thing.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
And
Same with
also some of the
everything.
second thing.
The second thing is hilarious.
So it's basically One Piece.
Yeah.
I'm imagining them like somehow getting like a gigantic, I don't know, amount of salt and like somehow prying his mouth open and dumping it in. I don't know.
I mean,
But no.
I mean, I don't know like how they're gonna do that or whatever, but
I mean, it's not like they have someone that can, like, make arms appear on his face or something.
really. Anyways, yeah, it's kind of a slow episode, but
it's getting late.
Yeah, it's just setting stuff up.
Well,
now JoJo's on the block.
Yes, it is.
JoJo! Fucking JoJo!
And we're
Holy
going to
shit.
have a lot to talk about.
Let's just
I
talk.
think I think it's gonna be a great fit.
It really does seem like they're going to...
Especially part 2.
even if it's not like a top-notch like dub or whatever, or if you might argue that it's just better in Japanese because of the type of
Yeah.
show it is, I still think it's a great fit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Patrick Seats just can't hold a candle to Koyasu no matter what he does, so he shouldn't try.
From what I've seen,
Whatever.
actually, a good chunk of this in Japanese and English, which is rare. And I actually think English Speedwagon is great. It's like perfectly corny, like corny enough that it sounds like it's well acted, corny, and not just poorly acted. And I think it sounds, I think it sounds great.
I mean, it's Ahsoka, so
Speedwagon is awesome. Like
I
you
don't
will
know.
never
Some of
convince
the
me
clips,
otherwise.
some of the clips where he's just like, "This man is pure evil." Just the way he says it.
Yeah. Like, Speedwagon has no reason to be a bro, but he is.
He's basically the exposition machine.
He really is.
Here's what's happening, and I'm going to say what's happening.
Even like apparently he even speaks in the third person when he says, "Even Speedwagon is afraid."
Oh, I can't wait.
Can't wait. Next week we'll talk about it on episode 28. So that'll be all for episode 27. Thank you, Zonic.
Yep.
Thanks, B-Dubs.
Okay.
And thank you, Seda.
Yay.
We'll see you next week for JoJo!
Good discussion, guys.
Yep. Good times.
We promise we'll zip through DBZ as fast as we can.
I don't think anything's really going to be happening other than people punching each other.
Great! We'll see you next week.
Only like 10 more episodes.
Yay.
Until we get to like over a year of more
And then we
of
get
this.
Bukai, which is just
I'm still pissed
more of
off
it,
they
but worse.
I'm still pissed off they stripped out all of the Teen Gohan stuff. Or at least most of it, you know? Like, I liked that stuff, you know?
I have a feeling if they air Bukai, people are gonna like enjoy it for like 3 episodes when it's kind of like this kind of slice. It's almost like slice of life DBZ with Gohan, and then like
I liked that stuff.
and then they'll jump into like the actual Buu arc, and they'll be like, oh, it's just this stuff again.
Yeah, like I really liked the turn it took after, you know, the Teen Gohan stuff and, you know, him going around, going to high school and being a superhero and stuff. I'm like, I liked that stuff. I'd rather have seen more of that. You know, that was actually pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
It just, you know, we can't have that. We can't have good things.
Well,
Goodbye, everybody.
but yeah, bye.
Bye. Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.
JoJo.